A very happy new year, everyone. And with me, I've invited a couple members of our Benekiva team. Matt is a new face in our company, and Maura has been a repeated guest, also a newer face, but since she's been here for 6 months, she's already a Benekiva veteran. So, Matt, would you like to introduce yourself, and then we'll go with Maura?
Sure. My name is Matt Murphy. I am from San Francisco and still live in San Francisco. I have two beautiful daughters, beautiful wife, and work from my parents' house because it's 3 minutes away and I don't have to deal with kids running around my house. So I am the director of sales for Benekiva, and I first met Bobbie via phone about 4 years ago. And I've always followed Benekiva ever since. And this has been a dream of mine to work with Bobbie, with Brent, with the Benekiva team. And, it truly has been a happy 8 weeks since I started.
Yay. Hey, Maura.
So my name is Maura Gilson O'Donnell, and I'm Director of Marketing for Benekiva. And as Bobbie said, I've been with the company for about 6 months, but I feel like in the last 6 months, we've accomplished so much and we've grown so much that it feels like it's been a lot longer, but in a really good way. And then even with Matt coming on a few weeks ago, we were talking earlier today about just in those 8 weeks, how we've taken things to even a further level as we grow the team. So I'm thrilled for 2022. Can't wait to see where Benekiva goes.
Awesome. So this is Happy Fridays, where we share happy stories of the week. You can discuss personal stories or professional. So who would like to go first?
I will go first. Actually, very interestingly, the happy story is a former client of mine at my old job, who I worked with exclusively, called me on my cell phone on my way to Sonoma to pick up my daughter, who was at camp up there. And I had no idea that he had my cell phone number, but he called me to complain about a bill from my former company. And I was just like, well, what are you doing now? And he's just like, well, I saw your LinkedIn profile, got your contact information, and want to work with Benekiva. So I thought that was really weird and interesting that he called my cell phone, but it was like kind of a happy moment, right? Like, it was just like, I can't believe you remembered me, Keith, from all those years ago. So that was a really happy moment. And then I would say the other happy moment is having my kids back in daycare. Is always a happy time.
It's been like on edge with the whole, with the whole pandemic. We've been like, they cancel school for 2 days and then Savannah's back. So it's been kind of like, I'm with you, Matt.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want my kids to be safe, but I want them to learn.
Leave me alone.
Selfishly leave us alone.
Yes, exactly. So both personal and professional happy moments this week. And once again, it's one of those great things about being a professional and working with a professional company like Benekiva that's still starting, so you feel invigorated and ready to take the next step. So I think that's both of those things on a personal level and a professional level have made for happy moments for me this week.
That's awesome. Thank you, Matt, and welcome. We're so happy that you're part of our family and so glad you're with us. This is going to be an awesome year. Maura, would you like to go next?
Yeah, so I had the opportunity to take a little bit of time off between Christmas and New Year's, which every year I like to sort of take that time to just sort of regroup a little bit. I organize closets. I like to organize my pantry. I don't make New Year's resolutions, but try to take a step back and evaluate, okay, how are things going personally and professionally? What do I need to do to change either, the way I'm going about things, my physicality, because we're all working at home. What do I need to do to adjust there? So I sat down and made a list over the break about just how do I want to see 2022, begin and how I want to just maybe make some adjustments. So I signed up for a yoga class. I'm taking yoga now twice a week, which is something that, especially if you're working at home, it's hard sometimes to motivate to go and do these things outside of the house because we tend to stay glued to our computers. So that's been something that I've gone twice because we're only into the first week of the year, which has been fantastic. And secondly, just really taking a look at, how do I think I can improve about being effective, not working smarter, not harder. We have so much to accomplish, and we have we have a strong but smaller team, and just going through and organizing myself through my file folders on my computer, and how even my desk space, like I got some new desk toys, like I have a new tripod and different things, just so that I can say, okay, how can I be more efficient in my job? And I find that having organization around me in my space, and then in my computer and everything, provides a lot of calmness in the way that I like to approach the new year. So I am really excited. I've spent a lot of time over the last several months, helping my kids. I have one that's been going through the college search. So there's just been a lot going on. So it was sort of nice to have a break. And I'm really just looking forward to working with, new folks like Matt, and working with you, Bobbie, and the rest of the team on all of the different opportunities we have this year. We have a lot to do, and it's exciting. I'm really looking forward to it.
No, that's awesome. I had a conversation with our delivery team, and I was like, here's what first quarter looks like. And then I was like, oh, and I forgot one more. So we hit the ground running, and which is awesome. Right now we're approaching close to 60 people already in our company. So,
but we were on a call this morning with a new marketing agency that we're working with. We just began the engagement, and Matt and Ashley, who's our new business development person, she's been on for several months, and you could tell people were actually enjoying the conversation, which that means a lot. Everybody was engaged and just really enthusiastic, and that adds excitement. It's nice to be working with people who just can't wait to just really dig in. And I think we developed some great planning today, and now we're going to talk about execution. So a lot to come.
Oh, that's awesome. Awesome. It's so great to see the momentum, right? Like when you take a step back from the journey, this is just so awesome. And to be honest with you, with 2022, one of my goals is to do as much delegation as possible. Mm-hmm. And this is my year, right? This is, I felt like Brent had his year last year, towards the end of last year. He still has a way to go. I think it's my turn now. And so then we have to work on him as well. But, I think it's getting more and more people to really start to take ownership in their roles and responsibility, where we as a leadership team can really just come in and be impediment blockers. But the last thing we want to be we don't want to be an impediment to our team, and sometimes as you're scaling your company, you've got to let people fail. Like, people make the decisions, you can't control everything. But it's a journey, right? It's part of scaling your company. So I'm excited that we have such amazing talent, and we're continuing to recruit more this year.
Well, I think that speaks volumes for you and Brent, Bobbie, is, it's leadership should be all about empowerment, mm-hmm. and not about impediment. And I think that both you and Brent and the entire leadership team really take that to heart. And, not only want the business to excel and to grow as quickly as possible, but what you can do to help us empower ourselves. And, that's a huge, huge thing. And that's what real leaders do.
Oh.
And it can be hard to let go and delegate.
Maybe, right? Still
Yeah.
busy, but babies got to grow up and they've got to be self-sustaining. So we've got to let some of that go. And that means they're bruising their knees and scratching stuff, but all you can do is, just help and support, right? So.
Mhm. It's so funny. I've had that same conversation. I have a 17-year-old son, and he and I had that same exact conversation about him wanting to be independent and grow and, make mistakes. And I have to let him do that independently. And even from a personal level, it can be challenging to just sort of let go a little bit.
Well, I'll wrap up our happy story with sharing a couple of things that I'm excited about 2022. So something that I just started, which is the Unique Voices of Tech podcast. I messaged Maura and I said, Maura, don't worry, I got this, because this is something I want to do for the community. So I've been asked since last year, even year before, to do something like this. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'll plan it out. And something clicked on Sunday where I just wrote out a structure, contacted my first guest, Kate, at night and said, hey, you want to be my guest? It's super ad hoc. You can say no if you don't have time, but I want you to be my first guest. I want to try something. And we just did it. Like, we did a podcast, and since then I've got a third one coming on Monday. But what I've recognized is the best way to give back to the community is giving my time. And
Mhm.
Matt has said it really best to say, but doing it in a meaningful way, right? So I want unique voices to be heard among tech. How many times do we go to conferences and we see the same people over and over again? And I think this is a forum where it's on social media, people are online, and I really just want to highlight unique voices of tech, typically that you wouldn't hear, or you may hear, but they're not your always visible, because let's face it, all of the conferences we were just talking about it, are going to pay to play. So if you want your voice to be heard at a conference, unless you're a carrier, right? In our world, if you are a technology provider, it's becoming harder and harder, because people will pay money to go share their position and thought leadership. And Brent and I really approach thought leadership in a different way, because we came at it at the industry at a different lens, right? We're solving a problem in a unique way. So we have a different story, but I'm thinking like Unique Voices of Tech is my give back. It's a way for you to hear different voices that you wouldn't see, especially with the global nature of how our businesses, they're not going to have the liberty or even the option to come to US to speak to the audience. So this is just my give back component that I'm very excited about. Very, very, very. It's becoming like my passion project. So I'm excited I got started with that. And then going back to the fitness side, in Balanced Life, which is one of our Slack channels on Benekiva, we're starting a fitness, and we're big enough to have like a fitness committee. So people have already signed up to be on the fitness committee, which makes me so happy that we can now start doing some really cool culture programs to really motivate our team to have a balanced way of looking at life, work-life integration.
Should we have like our own Peloton channel? Because I have one of those now. I've got my clip-on shoes for Christmas.
Okay, I will, we should do it. I don't know how many in our org have a Peloton, but I do. And are you on Twitter, Matt?
Probably.
Okay, get on Twitter, because I'm going to add you to this group. That's who got me into Peloton, where I had a NordicTrack bike, and I literally just said, I'm not doing it. I'm investing into a Peloton, because there's a community they're a fintech, insurtech, mainly European group that we all talk about fitness on Twitter. That stream has grown. Now we have over 50 people that are attached to that thread.
perfect, you know, and
It's a
talk
good
about a
group.
happy moment on a Friday. Now I have like a group that I can compete against.
Yeah, yeah. And internally too, we should ask who has a Peloton. So that would be cool.
I'm down.
Okay, well, this wraps up our Happy Friday stories. Matt, thank you so much for attending, and Maura as well. And until next time, Happy Friday, everyone.
Happy Friday, everybody.
Friday.